Hey, what's going on, guys? Hitsquad here again. And I got my friend with me here. I got Tim on my show. How you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good. I'm glad someone actually called me a friend. I'm wearing the black today because I felt that more what the Desperado should wear on the YouTube channel for the New York Football Giants. Can I do one thing?
Go for it.
Can I do one thing? Hello, everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Boot, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment with the Hitsquad. And if you're going to copy my intro, you make sure you do it right. Thank you.
Exactly. You know what?
Thank you.
I like it. That's a great word for intro. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Just trying to do what we can. I hope you and yours are being safe during these times, man.
We're trying. Hope the same on your end.
Thank you, man. I'm glad everything is good. So I know we have quite a bit to talk about today. We can definitely start one way, but I wanted to get your thoughts quickly, just because I know that it's been a little bit of a conversation today. I don't know if you've seen the Brandon Marshall incident, him coming out saying that the Giants were a poor-run organization. I wanted to get your thoughts on that and your opinions to see what you thought about it.
And I have a short opinion on that because it's coming from Brandon Marshall, and in some regards, he's a poorly run human being. I mean, Brandon has had his own issues going back to his days at UCF, going back to his days, with the Broncos. I mean, a lot of times everyone has an opinion, everyone's entitled to an opinion, and everyone can give their opinion. But when you have more issues than an organization that's been around since the 20s and has won multiple championships and is kind of going through a lull, it's easy to kick a dog when he's down. I mean, we sucked in the 70s from 70 to 79 until Ray Perkins took over. But you know what? Every team has cycles. You have your ups, you have your downs. It just, like I said, to me, Brandon Marshall is just trying to get his name back in the paper. I've saw some of the YouTube videos. I never watch them, but I see the thumbnails because of the fact it's like, I'm not going to waste my time on a player that barely had a cup of coffee here with the Giants.
Very true, very true. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, for me, it was, I understood that, we haven't been a good team for a little bit. For the better half of the decade, we haven't been.
Yeah, a little bit.
But, he had such a small stint with us. He had one good season with the Jets, with the Broncos, but for me, it was very out of line. I get you want to get your name out there. I read that he threw Chicago and Pittsburgh in there as well, and you can make the argument that with everything that Pittsburgh itself has been through, just in last year in general, and how they handled everything.
Oh yeah.
You can't even put them in that conversation. Like you said, every team has a lull in there. It happens. And unfortunately, he came in during a time where I remember that year when we signed him. A lot of people thought we were going to make it deep into the playoffs, coming off an 11-5 season. Fortunately, that didn't happen. We were plagued by injuries, bad coaching. But for me, it was Brandon really shouldn't be talking. I get it. You're not in the NFL anymore. I mean, but he's had some hot takes recently that it's just I don't even pay attention to it. Well, I really don't.
It's honestly it's a car wreck, taking a look at a train wreck and commenting on it, because the Giants have been a train wreck for a better part of 7 of the last 8 years. Well, we're turning the ship around. I mean, back in the 70s, which like I said, you're not even close to old enough to remember. We had 3 head coaches. We had Alex Webster, John McVay, and Armsberger, and we sucked. And we heard the same thing that you heard now with Shermer, McAdoo, and now Judge. Oh, this is going to be the greatest coaches that are going to come in. Oh, we're going to revamp the system. And every year was something different until in 79 when they hired Ray Perkins, who then went on to coach Alabama. And he finally turned the ship around and got us back into the playoffs in 81, had a good season in 82 before he left for Alabama in 83 and Parcells took over. But it's the same situation. Teams go through their highs, they go through their lows, and when you have 4 Super Bowls and you get 4 of these, Brandon Marshall's got he's got no place to talk. And like I said, and to your point, keeping your name in the paper, having hot takes, It just is what it is. And, you know, like I said, I didn't even watch it. I didn't even really read about it. You actually were the first person. You mentioned it, and I said, well, I saw the thumbnails, but like I said, Brandon Marshall is just Brandon Marshall.
Absolutely. And it's, for me, it's like you haven't even had a sniff in the playoffs. I don't want to hear you talk about what a great organization is. And what really got to me was he named that the Jets were a good organization. And that's when I knew, you know what, nah, this man crazy.
Well, let's see. The Jets won last Super Bowls in what, 69. So yeah, you know, I mean, they're pretty good. they're a pretty good organization when when your best quarterback recently has been like Chad Pennington. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty. I mean, you got the butt fumble. I mean, come on.
You got that. I mean, your quarterback got mono.
Sanchez. Like, I mean,
my God.
I mean,
well, hey,
I mean, it is what it is. It's like I said, I have no additional comment or anything that may be nice to say. So, like my mother always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, wait till the person turns around and say it behind their back. So I'm not even going to say.
I like that. It's the first time I've heard that. I like that.
Thank you.
So, the schedule came out yesterday. I know that you and I kind of have, similar thoughts of how this upcoming season can go. We could call it optimism. But I definitely do think that, we could take a big step forward this year compared to how we've been the last couple years. But, I wanted to, just briefly go over the schedule.
Sure.
I know that for us as fans, the last 5 out of the 6 years, we've been used to playing Dallas in Dallas.
Yes.
Except for the 1 year we played Jacksonville at MetLife. But this year we play the Steelers at home. Which it's a Monday night game. I know historically we don't do too well in Monday night or Thursday night games. So I wanted
Sunday night games, Monday night games, Wednesday night games, Thursday night games. No, historically we have not been doing well lately on any day.
Sometimes Sunday morning games.
Sunday morning. I think we're 0-0 Sunday mornings. No, didn't we lose in London? No, I think we won in London.
We did when we played the Rams.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the schedule here, week 1, and I just kind of wanted to go over it with you. Sure. And get your thoughts on it and what you're thinking. Because we knew of the teams that we were playing.
We just didn't have the dates.
Home and away. We just didn't know the schedule.
Right.
Of it. Yes, and I wanted to just kind of go through it and see what you're thinking here.
Sure.
So week 1, like I said, we have the Steelers at MetLife. Week 2, we go to Chicago. That's an away game. Week 3, we got San Francisco at home. Week 4, we have the Rams. If you guys saw my last video, I know I had a couple of you coming at me that I said the LA Chargers, and I was naming the LA Chargers whole team. Leave me alone. I'm going to figure it out. That video's not even there anymore. One of you guys took it down. But we got the LA Rams away, and then we played Dallas week 5, which I actually like that for once. We play a divisional opponent, but I don't know if you caught on to this, but from week 5 to week 10,
we have 3 divisional
minus week 8 with the Bucks. So I guess we can.
Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divisional opponents from October 11th to November 15th, not counting the November 2nd game in Tampa, or home on Tampa.
Yes, and that I got my own thoughts on that we could touch on too.
That's a make or break part of the schedule, to be honest. Absolutely. And like I said, I had us predicted at 9-7. Mm-hmm. But looking at the schedule, my 9-7 in some ways is kind of wavering, because I still think, because I called the Steeler game a trap game back in my last video when I had them listed at 8-8. And then I switched it to 9-7, and I still think it's a trap game, even though it's the first game of the season. Because to your point, we haven't played well. It's always been against Dallas, but we have not played well on opening night. I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, and then you run into Chicago. That should be a win, but then we potentially can have 1, 2, 3 losses in a row, going to San Francisco. And I know a lot of people are down on the Rams, but they still have a very tight defense, and they still have a potent offense. And I know they got rid of Gurley and everything else, but because Gurley was kind of girly and they wouldn't let him run the ball. But I mean, it potentially could, like I said, we could potentially lose. You know, if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4 games, 5 games going up into November 2nd between the Chargers, the Cowboys, Washington, I marked down as a win, the Eagles away, and then Tampa. Now, Tampa, I'm not as big on Tampa and everyone else is. You got a 40-something-year-old quarterback in Tom Brady who had a bad second half of the season. You had Gronkowski coming back who can never stay healthy. Yes, you got Evans and the other kid on the other side. But it's still Tampa, and if Brady doesn't move the team, it's just not going to go. I mean, the Tampa put up their defense put up too many big points. You know, let opponents put up too many big points against them. So unless they fix the problems, I mean, I personally don't know.
Yeah, and I know that they retained some players. They brought back Sue, they brought back Shaq Barrett, but I didn't see them really make too many adjustments this year, especially in free agency. You know, I know that they brought back Tom Brady, they brought back Gronk, but at the same time, Brady is up there in age. I might get a lot. I might get a lot from this, but I personally do think that yes, that Brady may have not had that much talent in New England, but there were games that Brady cost them. You look at the Tennessee game; his last throw was a pick six.
Yeah. No, Tom Brady isn't what Tom Brady was 4 years ago. And what quarterback isn't 40? But like I said, I think Tampa they got rid of Winston, which, you know, I think Winston is an okay pro. Like I said, Winston set the record last year for never throwing a ball out of bounds out of 500 and something passes. So, jeez, I mean, if he would actually figure it out and straighten his head on a little bit and figure out you should dump the ball sometimes, you know, he might actually have a really good professional career. So, but Tampa just didn't want to work with him at that point in time anymore. And like I said, they're relying a lot on Tom Brady being Tom Brady from 4 years ago. Tom Brady hasn't really been the same to me since the Eagles Super Bowl. Oh, and I know he won a Super Bowl after that, but he just hasn't been the same player.
Absolutely. And even with, you know, I said it, that even with him winning the Super Bowl the next year, I don't credit him for winning that Super Bowl. They had a really good defense. It was a low-scoring game. To me, I thought it was a really boring Super Bowl. That's just me, though. But, you know, I get that he had the key play. It was a nice throw to Rob Gronkowski, but he didn't do anything else besides that throughout the whole Super Bowl.
No, it was nothing. It was nothing spectacular special.
No, and you know, and that is no hate or anything towards Tom Brady. You know, I think he is the best quarterback of all time. But we got to look at his age. I mean, you don't expect any player to play into this age that he's playing and expect him to still retain that level of excellence that he's had. He's gonna digress. I think he'll play a little bit better than he did last year because he'll have more talent around him. But at the same time, I mean, I have Tampa winning 9 games next year.
Right.
That's just me. I have them winning 9 games. You know, at the end of the day, Tampa's going to be Tampa. I actually have us winning that game, to be honest with you. I really think that we would match up well with the Bucs, right. Especially with this. I feel like with this revamped offensive line, you know, I really do think that this team could take a big step forward next year that we haven't seen in quite some time with the Giants.
Oh, I hope so. Like I said, I am still under the projection of 9-7. I'm not moving off that. I'm not moving above that though. I could see 9-7 or 8 with the way the schedule is laid out, because then you're also taking a look at the last 3 games of the season, the last 5 games of the season away at Seattle. The Cardinals, which I hope we win the Cardinal game, because the Cardinal game last year was a wreck. I was at that game. That was just not even a game. That was after the bye, and not even going to talk about that game. We have the Cleveland game at home. I think we'll beat Cleveland, but then we have to close it out the Ravens and the Cowboys. You know, and we're at the Cowboys at home, but it's like that game could potentially be 3 losses, out of the last 5 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think, especially since we have the bye week at a good time, because I feel like you never want to have it too late. You never want to have it too early.
We got it pretty
We have
late.
it. Yeah, we have it right after week 10. So
Yeah.
I think that's good. And then, we play away with Cincinnati, and I think that'll be a good game as well. But you have a point. These last 5 games: Seattle, Cardinals, Browns, Ravens, Dallas. Just by looking at it, you could argue the Cardinals game. I remember watching that game last year. It was just a giant shit show. We should have won that game.
In the rain to watch that game like we did.
No, I didn't. I was in the comfort.
And we stayed till the bitter end.
And I respect that.
And it was bitter. It was not where we wanted to be at that point in time.
We had a running back that I've never heard of in Chase Edmonds, looking like Christian McCaffrey out there.
Yeah, one good game. That was it. And then we need to think about is between the November 8th and November 29th game, we got the Eagle game sandwiched in there. Yeah, we got the Redskins and the Bengals, but then on the 15th we have the Eagles, at home. But the Eagle game is never since like 2010. The Eagles game has never been really going our way. So
no,
I still project it depends on what happens with Wentz, but I still think we'll come out of that. And then, like I said, then we go into the bye and play the Bengals. So hopefully we don't have the trap game on the 29th, because the Giants always, every season I've been watching since the 70s, the Giants always have a trap game. Always have a game that they should win, they should blow them out, and then we lose 35-17.
Yep. And then I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
And then we have those games that we shouldn't win.
Yep.
But then we win.
And then we win.
You love to see it. It's I always tell people being a Giants fan is like, it's a heart attack sometimes. It is a heart attack waiting to happen.
Yeah. No, that it is. So what do you think the final schedule is going to be for the G-Men?
Well, I have a score at 9-7, same as you. I definitely think that 8-8 is definitely possible. And the reason why I had us 9-7 is I actually have a splitting with Dallas. Now I know that Dallas is, the favorite to win this division. I'm not really worried about Philly. I feel like they didn't really address the wide receiver position. I know that they drafted, but Wentz can't stay healthy. He can't, and I know that they have Jalen Hurts there as well.
The problem
I think that's a good backup addition, but I'm not really too worried about the Eagles.
Well, right now the problem is also we didn't really address the wide receiver position either.
Yeah, we didn't.
I mean, if you look at it, like I said, Golden Tate, he's going to be 33. Sterling Shepard's got to stay out of concussion protocol, and then we got to turn around and hope Darius Slayton doesn't fall into the sophomore jinx, so sophomore trap. And then you hope that Ingram can slide in and pick up some time in the slot. But beyond that, you sign, 3-4 free agent, undrafted free agents. And I know people going crazy about it, but it's like, you didn't get drafted for a reason,
Absolutely.
And like I said, we've said it a million times since 95, 15% of 7th round draft choices make it their first year and contribute. And it's less for undrafted free agents. And like I said, we've said it before, for every Victor Cruz, there's 200 Travis Rudolphs we're going to have to see. So,
and Reggie White Jr.'s.
So we kind of have to, and I always tell people, we got to kind of look inward, because we kind of have the same situation that, our wide receivers right now, if one injury or if Golden Tate tries to get his wife pregnant again and gets popped for peds, I mean, who do we have behind us? We're gonna take Reggie White Jr. and have him come out. So I mean, like I said, I like fooling with the schedule and just giving my prognostication of what it should be. But honestly, like I said, at this point in time, I'm saying 9-7, but that could change by the third week in camp. I could look at it and go, we're going to be 4-12. So I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Let's say the Giants go through this season, and let's say we end up 4-12. What are you then thinking, or what are you thinking the thought process is for Mr. Judge and Mr. Gettleman?
I think with Judge, we got to give it some time. This is going to be his first year. And we have a really young team as well. I know that they want to implement a certain culture here. I think we're headed in the right direction, but we got to give it some time. I know us as fans, we want it really quick. We want it this year, every
I
year.
don't know if really quick is a good word considering we've been waiting since 2000.
We, yeah, we've been waiting quite some time, but I feel
real
like
quick for 10 years. I don't think we'd go any slower.
let's hope not. Let's definitely hope not. But if we were to go 4-12, my mindset is that this is part of rebuilding. Unfortunately, where we have to figure out they're learning a whole new defensive scheme, whole new offensive scheme.
Yeah.
And especially with how the world is right now, I'm not expecting these players to be able to build a chemistry with each other right away. If it wasn't like this, that'd be a little bit different. But these players, they have to learn. They have to get accustomed to the NFL. We have a lot of second-year players coming in. We have a lot more first-year players as well. And we could hope that our third-year players play really good. But I think that we just have to be patient. I wouldn't fire Gettleman after this year. I would just give him maybe one more year, just so that he can, finish what he's doing. Because you don't, in my opinion, you just don't hire a new coach and, put your general manager on the hot seat that same year. If you're going to do it, for me, I would wait until the second year of that coach,
right,
being in there. That's just me.
We would pull a Shermer and get rid of him after season.
Absolutely. And you know what? If we were to go 4-12, maybe we can use that pick on a defensive end or on the edge, hopefully.
Wait, a defensive end? That's crazy talk. What do we need one of those for? I think we're just going to play 10 men and leave that side of the field open.
Yeah, no. You know what? If anything, we could draft another cornerback or, if anything, you know what? Because Dexter Lawrence most likely won't be on the team next year, we can go get ourselves another defensive tackle.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when I was seeing that, what's his name? The guy from Auburn, Derek Brown. There was rumors that the Giants were looking into it. As much as I brushed it off, I still kept it in the back of my mind. I wouldn't be surprised.
There would always be a possibility.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised. But same question back to you. How would you proceed with it if we did go 4-12 or even 3-13?
Well, like I said, I lived through 3-12-1 with Parcells in 83. So, and like I said, that came off the heels of a fairly successful Ray Perkins. And like I said, Parcells almost got fired that year. He came, and even George Young said it before he passed that there was so much debate over in East Rutherford about getting rid of Parcells after that first season because he just didn't seem he was truculent with the media. He just didn't seem to be the right guy, and they finally gave him that chance. And Parcells finally said, screw it. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this my way. And then 84, I believe we went 9-7 and Phil Simms threw for over 4,000 yards. First time ever been done in Giant history. So I would hope that Judge being a first-year coach, if he does have that bump in the road, that he takes the Parcells approach. And because first-year coaches always listen to their staff their first year. They always listen to the experts that they bring in, and sometimes to their detriment. So I would hope he would kind of just throw that off to the wayside and say, you know what, I'm going to pull a Parcells and say, screw it. If I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired doing it my way. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to try to do it his way, but sometimes, and I've seen it firsthand, sometimes coaches don't have as much leeway in certain regards. I'm not going to get into specifics because it wouldn't be right, but there are certain times coaches do not have the amount of leeway you would think in reference to upper management and ownership. So it's I would hope, like I said, if they went that way, he would just kind of turn around and say, screw it, I'm doing it my way. And this is the way, if I get fired, I'm going to go out guns a-blazing and do everything that I want to do. And hopefully it turns into a Parcells situation and, wind up with 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah. Or even more. Even more. We can hope.
Too.
I'll be happy with one.
Yeah, so would I.
You know, and I don't think, with us saying, 9-7 or even 8-8, we as fans can't complain about that. Look at what we've been dealing with
Honestly,
the last 3 years.
I think you could take the division at 8-8 too.
Yeah, I don't think that's far fetched at all.
I'm not saying it in a bad way that they could go 8-8. I remember years ago when the Colts snuck into the playoffs at 7-9. And I think they won 2 games in the playoffs before they lost. So you never know. It's the same thing with years ago with Seattle Seahawks. I think they had a losing record when they got into the playoffs. But when the first year they had Marshawn Lynch. So he ran roughshod in that playoff game. So I mean, like I said, 8-8, 7-9 in this league now, you never know. And like I said, I'm not saying it as a bad way.
No, absolutely not. No, and I listen. I'd be happy with 7-9 or 9-7.
Either way, it's a big improvement.
I was just about to say that. Either way, it shows us that we're headed in the right direction. I think right now we just have to form an identity. I don't think we, as a team, have been able to figure out the identity. You have one healthy, the best running back in the game. I think Daniel Jones is very promising. I think that he could be that franchise guy. I think we'll see that this year. But, I think we just got to run the ball. I think that would be, that's, what we have to be, a run first.
That would behoove us if we did that, yes.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, that's what would irritate me so much about Shermer is that, like, you had games, during his tenure that Saquon is doing really good. You take that Philly game, he's doing really, really good. Why stop that? Why go into passing? Why, like,
it's Pat Shermer. That's why.
Yeah,
Pat Shermer
that's just
no longer.
That's what I chalked it up as. Yep, exactly. I just chalked it up as that, and it's I hope that Judge realizes the talent that he does have, especially on the offensive side. Which the argument can be made, may not be much, but I don't think that we have the worst roster in the NFL.
Yep.
No, and I think if it's coached right, we can really make a mark in this league, especially in this division, which, to be honest with you, is fairly weak.
Yeah,
it's fairly weak.
Like I said,
even with
you could wrap it up with that.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if you don't make the playoffs in 8-8, that's just an indicator to us as fans that we're headed in the right direction. Yep. I think that's what we need. We're in a year of a rebuild. Rebuilds take time, and unfortunately, almost every team got to go through it, and feels like we've been going through it for so long, but it's really been 2 years. So you got to take what you can.
We get greedy. We get greedy sometimes as fans.
I mean, can you blame us though?
No, I never blame. Like I said, I go to almost every single home game, and a lot of times to the Philly game and to the Washington game. So I mean, it's I'm always, like I said, I'm always the. A lot of people say I'm not, but I'm always the optimist. I'm always, I didn't believe last year when people were like, well, if we win this game and we do this, we're going to make the playoffs. No, I said, I'd still be happy if we won, 3 games, and we should never, and technically we should never have won the Tampa game. I mean, the guy misses
last year. Yeah.
I mean, that's just, but sometimes you win games you're not supposed to win. Like you were saying, sometimes you win the games that that you should win, but it's, I don't know. But
we should have won the Jets game.
We should have, but as a fan, like I said, yeah, I always go in with guarded optimism, and I always hope that this year has got to be better than the last.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all we can hope for. I hope that the season starts off right. I saw something that Art Stapleton was saying that I had to laugh at it. Even though week 1 is the Steelers game. If we were to expect that the season gets pushed back, I wouldn't be surprised if it starts by week 5 and we're starting again in Dallas.
It's a possibility, and I think it's interesting though. A friend of mine in Miami sent me an article from the Sun Sentinel saying that the Dolphins, which actually I thought was pretty interesting, actually came up with a way to open their home game by taking their 54,000 seat stadium and just allowing 16,000 people in, and they were going to set up this in certain ways in the stands. And actually, when people leave, they were basically going to leave by aisle like a church.
Yep.
You know, and I said, you know, that's really interesting that, you know, some teams are proactively trying to figure out ways to start the season September 14th. So, I mean, I'm very curious to see exactly, I should say September. No, it's a Thursday night game. So what is it, the 11th or whatever it is?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. But like I said, I do find it interesting that teams are already trying to come up with ways to make sure the season, you know, in some regards starts. Because you know what? Everyone needs some kind of release. Everyone needs something to kind of look forward to. And I think it's, you know, just as much as the fans need it, the players need it, the coaches need it just as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that, you know, that's not a bad idea by Miami. I think that when you can cut it down to that much, and, you know, it's a big stadium for, you know, people that live down here that have been at that stadium. It is a big stadium, Hard Rock Stadium. So they could definitely spread some people out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see how much the tickets would be, you know, because they're going to want to, I feel, you know, make up that end of, you know, because I mean, I feel like there'd be kind of a profit loss, but at the same time, not really.
Yeah, but the only problem is you also have to remember a lot of people pick up tickets in the secondary market. So
that's true. Yeah.
You know, StubHub, Hot Seats, SeatGeeks, and all that. So I mean, I don't see them trying to gouge the tickets because I also don't think they want to incur the wrath of the fan. Because let's say October 11th, you know, everything's back to normal, and you just gouged people for 6 weeks. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to come back and say, you took all that money from me. I'm going to give you some more now at the regular price.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, it wouldn't be smart on their end, but I think that, you know, they're going to figure out a way to, you know, make sure that the season starts on time.
Yeah,
they're going to. If they were able to nail, and I know that this is kind of a stretch and maybe even a little bit of a reach here, but if they were able to execute how they did the drafts, I'm sure that they can execute a way on, even if at a worst case scenario, the season starts and there's no fans in the stands.
Yeah, like I said, the TV contract alone pays the player salaries. I mean, it's not like the owners are making, you know, merchandising, and the TV contract is what keep NFL teams up and running. And the concessions is great, the tickets are great. The luxury boxes are great, but your money is made in the TV contract. And that's just, like I said, and that's with the revenue sharing the way it is. That's just, and then, like I said, it also falls under merchandising as well. That's where NFL teams make, I would say, 80-90% of their money.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%, man. I agree. You know, but yeah, you know, that's all I got. And you know, I'm glad to have you on the show, man. I'm glad that, you know, we're able to speak. It's always good seeing you, man, and hearing from you, brother.
Well, I really do appreciate you having me on. And like I said, I think you have a fantastic show. And like I said, I always enjoy the opportunity to come on anywhere and speak to Giants. But like I said, I really do enjoy working with you because, like I said, I really do think you put out wonderful content, timely content. And like I said, I wish I could have the opportunity to put out more, you know, timely comments about things like you do, which I think is fantastic because, like I said, I think your takes are wonderful, and I really do appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, man. I really do appreciate that. And, you know, we'll definitely do something in the future, you know, try to get some other people on, work with some other people, hopefully. But, you know,
good luck with that. Evidently, you haven't seen my channel.
You know what? At the end of the day, you know, we're all family here, man. You know,
exactly.
We all have one thing in common, and that's the Giants.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what we just got to look at. You know, we can't just, you know, be working our way around and using our baby hands on computers, you know.
I got big enough hands. I got man hands. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, man. No problem.
Thank you.